Hello and welcome to another episode of Force Feedback. This time we're talking about the Resident Evil 4 remake. Joining me is Bob.
Bingo.
Kris Wolfhard.
Also bingo.
And notably not Dr. Aggro, because he was too scared. So instead of talking about all these delightful things in this game for an hour, we're just gonna shit talk Aggro. That guy's a wuss.
One time I held up a Halloween ghost made out of construction paper and he shit his pants. That's a true story.
That's a true story. This is very true. If you never watched one of these videos before, it's a fancy 3-cam video, very similar to our podcast. We do spoiler cast and reviews of lots of games, lots of Netflix series based on games. And we've just taken it to the next level with this fancy 3-cam setup that has indebted me for generations to come. What we do in these is at the beginning, we say a couple sentences about the game, thoughts on it, etc. And instead of giving you a number to just let rattle around in your head the whole time we're talking, distracting you from our words about the game's moments and criticisms and appraisements, we just make a mouth sound to vaguely encapsulate the emotion we feel when we think about the game. Resident Evil 4. Let's get started. We're going to go ahead and start with Bob, the only person on the other camera, so I can edit better and transition to him.
Yeah, Resident Evil...
I just unpacked a sausage live on video. I was like, this is what's in the sausage. I'm dying. Bob, you've played Resident Evil 4.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on Resident Evil 4?
I even played Resident Evil 4, the new one.
Oh, the 4 make?
Yes. It's still sad they don't just have remake the title or anything. It's just like, no, this is Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, it's like Planet of the Apes and Planet of the Apes and Planet of the Apes.
And Lords of the Fallen.
No. Oh, man.
But Resident Evil 4 is delightful. It might be the best third-person shooter I've played, at least in a very long time. It's got an incredible amount of variety. And oh my god, how has no one else made a game where you shoot a guy and then kick him in the face?
I don't know. That should be a tag, like roguelike.
So I'm going to give it a... Whoa.
Okay, Kris Wolfhard, you go next.
I didn't think a game could get you pregnant, but here we are. Never in my wildest dreams did I think it would have gone this well.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things I was like, surely they'll cut that, but no. So I'm going to give it a...
Resident Evil 4 Remake is so good, I spent the entire game thinking of what this segment I say here is going to be. And I decided it's me going, so on Mr. Show back in the day, they had a sketch that was about Bob Odenkirk hooked up to a lie detector and he admits to a bunch of ridiculous stuff. And one of the person's like, hey, you ever smoke crack? And he just nonchalantly goes, yeah. And they go, how was it? And he goes, it's crack, it's great. Gets you real high. That's Resident Evil 4 Remake. It is so good, it is beyond reason. Describing it almost feels like an act of the absurd. I'm gonna give it a wow.
It really is one of those things where if you can't describe it without just sounding like a shill.
Yes. I've literally never experienced a video game this good. And you hear that sentence? That sounds like a man who got a paycheck from Capcom.
Right?
Much like Resident Evil 4, the original, comes out and sets the standard between it and Kill Switch for the entire 7th gen for AAA shooters. This somehow has done it again, and I'm just left mystified going, is anyone even gonna make a third-person shooter anytime near now? Because that genre basically, the AAA third-person shooter as a genre just fell out. Like, it feels like the last time we got one of those was Uncharted 4's DLC sequel thing.
I mean, Last of Us 2...
That's true. But so we're waiting for Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
Which, you know, this has nothing to do with game technically, but you pointed out that The Last of Us is one of the only other AAA third-person shooters with a crafting upgrade system sort of thing, like Resident Evil 4. And it didn't even occur to me because there's so much stealth in it to compare those two games.
Right.
I'm like, man, Naughty Dog should do better.
The Saints Row reboot's a third-person shooter.
Yeah, but that's like an open world nightmare. I feel like it's not even fair.
Also, let's be real. It's not fair for any other singular video game to come anywhere near this because, you know, as has been obvious if you played Resident Evil 8 and read the leaks about Resident Evil 8 ahead of time, Village, that entire game is like, we're secretly making assets for Resident Evil 4's remake. And no other video game gets to do that. This is like if Kojima got to do Ground Zeroes for $60. Who else is gonna do that?
This was the closest they could get to make the game 3 times that the original game had.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. And that's like absolutely the case if you think about Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 3 remake, and Village. Mm-hmm. Like we got to keep making it.
You know, I'm going to be down on it for a second.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
There is one thing in RE4 regular that is not in this. And I can't tell you where it is in RE4 regular because that game is nebulous.
That game involves you taking a quick trip to Egypt.
Yes. There's a point, at some point, you go underground and get in a gigantic suspended metal structure. It's like metal cubes above the ground. Like, imagine like freight crates. Suspended above the ground, and you go through that while a giant monster chases you and it all falls.
And then you fight the giant monster at the end. Yeah, it's like a scorpion.
Yeah, something like that. And that's not in this game.
Oh,
so obviously
is
this
not.
game is trash.
Oh, is that
It is on the island. I was also like, I guess that's not going to be here because we're already past where it is.
Yeah, it's one of those things of like, everything else has been here. Where is it? I don't know when it was supposed to be. Where is it?
Yeah. See, that's really interesting because I feel like overall this game didn't cut a whole lot of stuff.
No.
So you got to pay attention to what is different.
Right.
Keep in mind, my experience, I've beaten Resident Evil 4 once, the original. But I've already beaten Resident Evil 4 Remake more times in the 6 days it's been out. Wow.
Jesus.
How many times did you beat the original? Just the one back in the day?
I feel like I did two times through back in the day, and then another time when we stream.
Yeah, so 3 times. Chris, do you even have an estimate?
Somewhere in the ballpark of 25.
So, some of us have really strong opinions. I feel like, before this came out, there was the talk of M2 was going to keep it really faithful. And they were taken off the project by Capcom because they wanted it to be more inventive and fresh. And I remember all 3 of us being like, uh-oh, that could be real bad.
Right.
Or it could be real good. We don't know. This is kind of scary.
It turned out that Capcom was like, well, the best flavor of milkshake is the swirl, so we're going to include everything and also a bunch of new shit.
Yes.
Yes. There's a sharpness to how this game controls that I don't think I've ever seen anyone else pull off. Like, there's a sharpness to how aiming, moving, melee stuff, and everything else feels. There's only one part of this game that doesn't feel incredible. You know what that is?
What's that?
It's the part when you come up on an enemy who's supine, and they're able to be knifed. And if you're not looking straight down and step back 1 step, you're not able to stab them. That is the one thing in this game I think control-wise I would change.
Yeah, I oftentimes would run up to them just mashing the R2 button, like hoping for it to go off, and it usually worked, but yeah, I could see how
it's not hugely problematic, but it is just not firing on the same level as the rest of this, as we often say, immaculate super game. This is truly the most ridiculously true that descriptor has ever been.
Yes, there has never been a time it was more accurate than right now.
Yeah, it literally would just have to have that Sony money for even higher fidelity cutscenes somehow for it to be somehow better.
It would have to be like one of those Sony games where it's like, it's twice as long as it is somehow and still has new ideas and everything.
And yet this is still the largest remake by a lot.
Yeah.
The quickest way to describe that is one of the other remakes, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3, is just like, beat the game in under 4 hours. Here's a cool challenge. And this one's like 8. Like, that's their challenge for you. Like, there's
if you want
here.
S+, I think you have to do it in under 5.5.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I did one playthrough, and then I immediately looped into, and I mean immediately, the second the credits ended, just started again. A new game plus standard playthrough, so that way I could 100% some treasures and get all the dancing Castellans or whatever. And those are neat challenges, and I'm glad it's not specific to each save file. It is cross-account smartly, because I was a little worried. Their shop system is a little different from how it's set up in Resident Evil 2 or 3, where the shop there is like, you have to buy the weapons, and in this it's kind of like, well, you have to do the cool thing, and then it unlocks the weapons, and then you can buy the weapons with the tons and tons of points you get by being a cool guy who kills zombies with eggs.
That store, that's the one point that I wish was better in this game.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of cool stuff you can buy in the store.
Yeah.
Especially considering they introduced that charm system and the attaché case system.
Yeah.
Where they give you buffs. And I was really convinced I was playing the game. Oh, there's going to be so many of these that do weird things in the store. And there's not.
Yes.
Maybe when the Separate Ways DLC comes out, or maybe when Mercenaries mode, because I know they're going to want to have stuff you unlock through Mercenaries mode.
Yeah, it was surprisingly sober and normal. Very vanilla in what upgrades it would be like. Well, this one gives you 15% more healing from green herbs, and this makes your resale value on ammo go up. But I think I might have just about all of them already.
Wow. Yeah, I did not get that many charms. It felt like I was at least able to get a decent number of those, whereas attaché cases, it feels like there's like 3 and 2 of them are from the deluxe edition.
Yeah, I think there are 4 total. There's like the 3 that you get if you get the deluxe edition, and then you could buy, well, I guess that makes 5 because you can buy 2 from him.
Yeah,
it's a red and a black, I believe.
Something
I could
like
be
that.
wrong on the colors, but yeah, I'm too busy using those jewels to buy the exclusive upgrade tickets. Because if you want to save money, let me tell you, you beat this game and they're like, by the way, there's a rocket launcher with infinite ammo for 2 million. And it took so much self-control to not just go, I'm going straight for that. So I'm using those jewels to buy the exclusive upgrade tickets to get those upgrades on every gun in the game. And then trying to save the money to get the infinite rocket launcher now that I've finished my second playthrough and I'm on my third.
There are some really good charms, though, that I got a couple. One, I got a legendary charm, the highest tier, called the Cute Bear. All ammo crafting costs 1 less gunpowder.
Whoa.
Oh, you...
I didn't get anything more than rare.
Hey, Chris, when did you get that?
Near the end of the game, I think.
We're having an astral chain moment because I got that in the first 3 hours of the game. So it set up high expectations.
Never fails.
I was like, oh man, this is crazy. They're going to have a bunch of stuff that's unhinged like this.
But I actually got the one other legendary charm that made me laugh because it's a reference to a glitch in the original game. It is a charm of the Striker, the shotgun. It makes you run 8% faster.
Oh my god.
If you do not know, in the original RE4, there is the Striker shotgun. It is the last shotgun you can buy. If you attempt to aim down the sights, and before you finish shouldering it to aim, you pause and switch to another gun, you move at 150% speed.
That's funny. That's really good.
That's amazing.
I was hoping there would be a charm of just Ashley in the position to sit on the sea vehicle.
Oh god.
Like the motorboat and just be floating in midair.
There is also that Dan might want to go for this, might save him some time. There's a charm of Leon with a rocket launcher, and all it does is make the rocket launcher cost 20% less, and it applies to the infinite one.
Oh my!
Wow.
Oh my god!
I gotta go to that shooting range because they refresh all the shooting range stuff every time you start a new game.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I wish I had known that before I finished my second playthrough.
Right.
I had also wish I'd known about that charm because I have a lot. I have so many, and then I got duplicates, so I've sold so many too. I feel like I've gotten at least 16, 18 charms and just had to sell the extras. So now I'm back at 12 or 13 of them in my collection. There are a lot of charms.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't do anything super radical. Some of them are just like, you know, like I said, green herbs heal 15% more. But I think with the deluxe, which we didn't talk about, did everyone here get the deluxe edition?
Yes, of course I did.
So as we sit here and we're like, games shouldn't cost $70. We're like, wait, $10 more for what? Yeah, absolutely.
I want Ashley dressed like some weird emo goth girl.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I need Ashley with the Gur hoodie.
Yeah, no, that's how I did my first playthrough. It was perfect. I'm like, yeah, this is the president's 20-year-old daughter in 2004.
Yeah, and then you see her cell phone and it all just adds up.
It does. It's perfect.
We need the DLC where Ashley is a tiny mouse.
We do. Just patch a charm into the game that's a tiny Ashley mouse.
Jesus.
That would be incredible. This game, I came into this, and you know, there's a little bit of talk about this before we dived in our intro bits. I came into this assuming this was gonna be a 9, because it's the same game from back then. How good could it possibly be to just play that again? There might be changes that disappoint me. There will be improvements, but the standards have changed. No. No, I was wrong. At least I got the deluxe edition.
Right.
I wish I had gotten, now that I know this is an immaculate super game, I'm kind of like, I wish I got the thing. I wish I pre-ordered the thing so GameStop could cancel it.
Yeah. Everyone wishes that.
Yeah.
God, I'd have. This was the worst possible thing you could have fumbled, GameStop.
Yeah.
Assuming you haven't gone out of business by the time this video comes out.
Yeah, it's going to take a few days, so who knows? It's entirely possible.
Such turmoil over there.
People are going to be upset. Hey, they just went under, you assholes. Stop bitching at them. Have some fucking respect.
No one's ever talking about GameStop like that.
No one we would find.
Right.
There are a lot of weird gaming YouTubers.
So something I really didn't expect was them to flesh out a lot of characters.
Yeah.
And give them a lot more stuff. Luis is obviously the big one, but I also really liked what they did with Krauser, which was not limited to just making him... Somehow Krauser in this game in 2023 is more of a PS2 character than the original Krauser.
I love this version of Krauser because I thought they were going to water him down. And instead they made him I have an emotional core like Thanos. Aren't I relatable? And can't you see how this is corrupted? And then you go to fight him and he's like pushy. And I'm just like, whoa, what the fuck is going on with this guy?
He not only, I feel like, looks more PS2 core, he also has the most PS2 voice I've ever heard outside a PS2 game.
It's really crazy because Krauser's like that. But for Ada Wong, we got the Ada Wong from Welcome to Raccoon City, who's delivering this is terrible. And then for, obviously we're in spoilersy territory, look out. Wesker is also really underdone too. I feel like they replaced DC Douglas.
Yeah, like I think that he's doing a decent Wesker voice.
You think?
But he's not DC Douglas.
Right.
Like that's an irreplaceable sort of actor.
Well, you can have someone come in with a crazy level of energy that's up there because Krauser's definitely crazy energy level where Wesker should come in at. That's okay. This is Capcom. They'll just recast him in the next game.
They do that all the time with these for some reason. I actually did not mind Ada's Wong voice, like her performance that much, but her recording quality is terrible.
Her recording quality is terrible. I was kind of surprised because she's the only one with bad quality. So I'm like, what studio did they get this real Hollywood actor to go to record that? That's because it just sounds like she's in a box. And
right.
You can only tell when they have the close-up because if the camera's further away, it adds so much reverb that you can tell it doesn't sound great, but you can't figure out why. But the closer the camera gets, the less reverb the engine adds, and then you just go, oh yeah, it sounds like she's in like a small closet.
Yeah.
And just recording in there. That's terrible. Meanwhile, everyone else sounded perfectly fine. I really like the performances in this game from basically everyone except for Ada Wong.
Right. Yeah, they're all really solid.
Did you know it took me until this first playthrough of Resident Evil 4 Remake to go, AW, that could be Ada Wong or Albert Wesker. Oh my God.
I also didn't get that.
I didn't realize that until right now.
Because you go to the computer and the computer's correspondence between an AW and Luis.
And then, but I'm coming in with like knowledge that it has to be Ada Wong.
Right.
So it didn't even occur to me.
Well, actually, she's just for hire, so it's probably Wesker.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The correspondence might be directly with her.
We need to check up the handwriting.
The text messages?
Yes.
Another element of this game that's a little weird. Just weird that they bother changing it.
What's up?
Krauser isn't working for Wesker anymore.
Yeah, it's really weird that he's like, no, I just love being strong.
Yeah, I guess I forgot that was an element to him before, but yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah, he's like, what are you talking about? I don't have a plan. I just like being strong. I love Plagueis. I eat Plagueis every day.
That's another thing I wanted to ask. This is end game spoilers. Watch out. In the original, did Ada not deliver the virus to Wesker?
Okay, so
she did. That's what happens to RE5.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, see, that's the thing. I was sitting here and I was like, maybe because RE5 did its own direction, maybe they were like, it doesn't make a ton of sense for her to deliver that and like it to be about something mildly different. Because do they use the amber to make the thing in 5?
Yes, because the Magini in RE5 are a mutated variant of the Las Plagas that Wesker made.
Then why the fuck is that game happening in Africa? I thought it was about something they found in Africa. Yeah. I guess we're going to have to replay Resident Evil 5.
I think they found some other disease in Africa. Because the biggest thing in Resident Evil is that if you just go anywhere in the world and dig deep enough, you find some horror. You find the thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that apparently in ancient Resident Evil world, some sort of super tree ambered these. Like it just puts red sap over all the insects that would rule the world.
Yeah, it was protecting us.
Yes.
Thank you, Super Tree.
I do like this direction they're taking where it's like, no, every supernatural creature was real, but they were super science thing monsters.
Yes, I like that a lot. I wish that was cooler in Resident Evil 8, because Resident Evil 8 has werewolves and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that was a little neater there. There's just something about 8 that doesn't land for me personally. Just from a story angle, even.
Yeah, if you were playing as Leon and kicking them in the face, it would have really landed.
Yeah, it would have landed a kick or two on the face. Absolutely. That checks out. That's just science. I do appreciate that about the Resident Evil universe. It's always really cool when people go, no. This mythological thing's real. It's just, organisms.
Yeah, I appreciate so much the way that Resident Evil handles horror and zombies. It's so different from everyone else, like in every way.
Yeah. It would have been neat if we got a little bit more energy like that in America's cinema about zombies.
Yeah, every single thing that's like, oh, we don't use the word zombie. It's like, but you made a zombie movie. Like, The Last of Us is so directly just zombie tropes.
Yeah.
In a way that Resident Evil isn't, which is strange.
It's like Japan saw Romero movies and they're like, yeah, that's cool. We're going to do the whole thing, including the part that's about capitalism. And then everybody in America went, what could it mean?
A lot of people think Kris is edited on there. They don't realize he's actually there. Like, watch, I can just put my hand.
Does that hurt?
No, it's perfect. One of the things I really praised Resident Evil 3's remake for is that it's such a bite-sized thing, and it's really good to do a ton of runs of the game. And there was the concern that this being larger would actually subdue that for me. But I feel like if I'm not going for every treasure and every request,
yeah,
it's actually fine.
It's hard not to, but yeah.
It's hard not to if you're trying to fully upgrade everything, because you need to do those requests to get the jewels, to buy the tickets, to do it faster.
Mm-hmm. And I see things on the map, I have to collect them. Like my brain's broken.
Yeah. Well, this isn't an open world game for me, and I'm on my 3rd run, so it's a little subdued chemically in my brain. Also, hardcore mode, Speaking of which, let's talk about it. I've seen a lot of people talk about the difficulty in this game and how the standard mode in this is kind of like harder than it was in the original. What are your thoughts on the difficulty, Bob?
I feel like standard mode is like balanced super well.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's absolutely a good way to play through this game and feels like hard in the right places and not way too hard anywhere, and you have a decent supply of ammo. In hardcore mode, they should not have said, yeah, if you play Resident Evil 4, play this. Because that's like, if you are insanely good at Resident Evil 4, you can start here. But I was having trouble.
Kris, what did you play on? What are your thoughts?
I played on standard. I thought from the demo that the game was going to be more difficult overall than the original.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the beginning of a fresh run is.
Yeah.
I think once you get some stuff, once you start getting some upgrades, you get to about the same exact level.
This game to me felt pretty easy on standard mode, so I kind of am interested in trying out hardcore just on a fresh run.
Right.
Just because I used the mind thrower the whole time, and every single big baddie in the game gets stun locked by that on normal. And I'm pretty sure that's still going to be the case on hardcore.
Right. Like for my hardcore run, the big guys weren't the problem. It was the crowds of people that got overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, like, most of the time when I died in the game, it was to a large mob of people and me being like, well, I don't want to use my good gun. That's for when the giant dude becomes a scorpion.
Right? Oh, man, the regenerators are rough on hardcore, which it makes sense.
Oh, yeah. I
had to play them like...
That sucks.
Yeah.
That has to suck.
That is a lot of... Okay, yeah, they're not dying. I got to get out.
The regenerators are scary all over again. I didn't think they would be able to freak me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they start doing the worm at you rapidly and you're like, I'm using a scope. What?
There's that, and there's the fact that, like, more than once I'm like, okay, I don't have the scope yet. I'm just gonna blow their legs off with the shotgun and go. They like instantly T-pose back onto their feet and their leg snaps back on.
Yeah. Yeah, they're crazy. They have various different things they can do from there, because a lot of times, like, they would just belly flop at me when they had no legs. Yeah.
There's also the element of like, I don't know if this is random or they're scripted to do that. Sometimes they'll turn into Iron Maidens.
I figured that was scripted, but maybe not.
And the Iron Maidens having projectiles, which I don't think they had originally, having the exploding power, and the thing where it's like, oh, you destroyed all the parasites, but there's still one in the brain.
Oh yeah, when you pop them all off and then it's like, surprise, one appeared in the brain and now he's gone sicko mode.
Right.
It's like, oh, what a nightmare. And then you put down the rifle to reload it, and that's when you see its face and you're like, oh my God. Because now it's like a fucking giant eye and scary as hell. Maybe I'm probably dumb, but you know the scariest moment in the game for me?
What's that?
When you go up to the I guess it would be a smelter or furnace area,
yeah.
and you're on the other side of the vent, and Luis is like, you first. And Leon's like, okay. And then he just gets grabbed, and I was like, shit, fuck. It was so abrupt. I don't know, it got me, legit.
Something got me. It wasn't that, but I can't remember what it was. There was just a point where I was like, whoa. I think it might have been one of the times they jump you with those night armors.
Oh, yeah. No, the night armors are freaky. They actually did that was an anxiety zone. That was a stress zone. I was scared and stressed out as these knights are all around me. And there's the sicko knight.
Oh, yeah.
Because the cool thing is you actually see him first as Ashley, but he doesn't move.
Oh,
he's in gold armor on the wall on the long staircase, and his eye is just glowing red. And I'm like, please don't do anything.
Luckily, when I got to fight him, I was like, well, I'm Leon, and I have a whole clip of a rifle ammo for my fully upgraded rifle.
Oh.
You ain't getting close.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, I mostly relied on, like, shotgun, pistol, and a mine thrower. I only switched to the rifle once you get to that segment, which is allegedly a very hard segment that they shouldn't have had in the game, where it's Ashley up there, and you're supposed to protect her from all the zombies. That's when I went, okay, I proved I can do this without the rifle, but that was stupid. Let's reload the save and do it with the rifle correctly.
Yeah, with those knights, I'm like, okay, Magnum. Pop on each of their heads.
Yeah.
Their helmets are now off. Flash grenade. This game, even more than the original, is like, you need to have a flash grenade on you at all times.
It really does help in some situations.
It does.
This is one of those ways where the remake is like, not harder, but it changes enough that it surprises you if you played the original a bunch. The head-eating Las Plagas, the ones that'll kill you instantly by biting Leon's head off. In the original, kind of scary, but you just shoot them with a shotgun, it's over. In this, they take significantly reduced damage if their mouths aren't open.
Yeah, you really gotta nail those mouth shots.
Oh, wow.
So there is that one part where there's 3 of them down on the lower floor.
I know what you're talking
in that
about.
in that room that has like the rafts over water on the bottom, or the fountains.
Yeah, the black water. It's the same room with where you have to send Ashley off to walk and hit the buttons.
I'm like, why aren't you dying? I'm throwing grenades. I'm shooting you guys with the shotgun. Why are you not going down? And then later I realized, oh, their mouth has to be open for them to take real damage. Otherwise, they take almost none.
Yeah, it's really, really reduced when it's not open. Yeah, I love that part on my second playthrough because I just used my sniper rifle to pop all their heads off so they became that and then threw a flashbang. And now there's nothing to deal with. Ha ha! Eat it! Because, this game's a very dynamic game.
Yeah.
I love that about this game. That's why it's so replayable, that it has so many different ways any encounter can go. I love that they just maintain that energy and they have such interesting setups for battles. Like when you fight 2 claw dudes at once and there are 8 guys in the room with you and you can just go, I don't want to deal with him. I'm just going to run near you and then crouch and walk away slowly so he tears you in half.
Yes.
That's always hilarious.
I got them to take most of their health by just hitting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good. First time through there, I just used mine throw and stun lock them over and over again. Any slightly strong enemy in the entire game is just use the mine thrower. I literally put all my gunpowders and everything into that to just be like, every boss battle's neutralized. So much so that on my second playthrough, it felt like New Game Plus was harder because the game was harder because I stopped using the mine thrower.
See, I need to use it. I have not used it yet. I was like, I want to use it, but the extra step to putting on the mine bugged me a little bit. So I didn't want to use it as much.
That and the how slow Leon is to pull it up and aim it
Yeah.
deterred me from using it as well. So I used it very sparingly.
Yeah. Once again, it's like the song of crack. How was it? Oh, it's great. Kills him. I can't tell you what boss battle in that game was remotely challenging using that. I don't think it was, which is why I said the game's really easy on standard. Which is why I'm like, maybe I should have done hardcore.
Yeah, the bosses are all pretty easy. In fact, I think the Big Cheese is easier in Remake. In the original, I've never been able to figure out like a good way to just take him down because he's jumping back and forth on the rafters. He gets close to you and he swings. And in this game, you can fucking parry him. And then he just has that bad move where he throws boards at you. I'm like, well, I'll just run around and he misses. And then he comes down and I shoot him with the shotgun.
It's a pretty good strategy. Which shotgun were you using?
I used the riot gun once I got it.
I was using that for a while too. And then I saw the exclusive upgrade for, I think it was the Skull Shaker or whatever that comes with.
That's the deluxe edition.
Yeah, the deluxe edition one. It's like the exclusive upgrade doubles its damage. And I'm like, oh, this started making sense again. One moment.
That's the upgrade on the original shotgun too, is it doubles the damage.
Okay.
The thing I like about the Skull Shaker is it hardly takes any inventory space, so I can have like a completely filled out inventory if I bring it instead of another normal shotgun.
I will say, because the riot shotgun has a better spread, it's more concentrated. Even with the upgrade, I feel like that's actually the better shotgun.
Possible, but when I'm using the shotgun, I'm literally just like,
oh yeah,
2 inches from them.
Dude, I even mean that close.
Jeez.
Like, just for some reason, the spread's so outrageous that a dude who's like, normal person shape is still gonna have the circle go around him, and I swear the riot gun actually ends up doing more damage because it puts it all in him, so you can headshot him.
Yeah, it's like goose shot basically, or not goose shot, elephant shot.
Oh yeah.
The unfortunate thing is, he doesn't cock anything else like the Terminator, so I have to use that gun.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, we're not taking everything into account. Sure, these numbers are different over here, but this one's the Terminator shotgun. Leon's gonna break his thumb.
Yeah, he is.
And that's gonna be really cool.
We need a pistol where he cocks it with his mouth.
Oh no!
So I'm a little disappointed they made the striker basically worthless because of one change to the game.
What happened there?
In the original game, when you upgraded a weapon's capacity, it filled its ammo.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And the striker's exclusive upgrade, it gains an ammo capacity of 100.
Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah, so not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't have great damage anymore, and it has the widest spread possible, which may be really useful on professional or hardcore where you have big groups of guys you want to knock them all down.
Yeah, I actually used Striker most of the game for my first playthrough.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't a detriment to me, but I definitely saw the numbers didn't make sense. So,
Yeah.
what you gonna do?
What pistol were you using?
First time through, I did the Red 9. And then I felt like it was a fool's errand when I tried to do anything else. Because it's like the other pistol, it's a Sentinel 9, I think, something like that. There was a pre-order bonus pistol. It was basically Leon's pistol that could hold more ammo. Instead of like getting a 1.5 times increase in damage, it got 5 times the crit rate. And then I have really bad luck, so it just didn't work.
The Red 9 this sounds insane, but is maybe better in this game than in the original.
It is really good.
Especially since I'm a sicko and I'm like, I see that ticket you can buy as soon as you get in the castle. I'm immediately getting it. I now have a pistol that does like 5 damage.
I actually stuck with the Blacktail.
The Blacktail looks good.
Yeah, it's got a really high fire rate, so I just cap their knees and then kick them in the face. It's a good time for me, the guy who's kicking.
A weapon that is probably pretty useful on higher difficulties is the Punisher. Because in the original game, it shoots through guys.
Right.
Who cares? Not a big deal. In this, they just like, well, piercing goes through shield.
Oh.
Even the metal shields on the island.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's really worth using against certain enemy types.
Yeah, I honestly wrote it off because they have used the Punisher in the shooting range, which I haven't even talked about yet. The shooting range is great.
Yeah.
But the Punisher felt so bad as a pistol. Like, it was so inaccurate and required such a long time of holding it completely still for the thing to narrow it all.
Yeah.
That I was like, this sucks. I'm never buying it.
Bob's like, we haven't even talked about the targeting range. The targeting range is great. And I'm like, yeah, it's great. Gets you high. That targeting range is really cool. I'm glad. Right, we haven't even talked about who bought the game on what platform. So you both got PS5, right?
Of course.
What modes?
Yep.
What modes are you playing in?
Performance.
Performance.
I forget all the options you have. Did you leave chromatic aberration on?
I left it on for first run, then turned it off for my second run.
Okay, did the second run look a lot better?
A little. It's
Okay.
like it's hard for me to notice.
Do you get to choose wig or not wig?
Yes, but I didn't turn
Yes.
it all on because it made the game run real bad.
Okay, Kris.
Yeah, it makes performance real bad.
It looks really nice.
I should have just gotten a golden painted secret lab tier so that way I could be like, I played on PC on my 4090
Jesus.
that I bought to do these videos because as it turns out processing 6K video is pretty hard. Anyways, man, that's a good PC version, except when you run past the loading segments and you go from your nice 4K 100 frame per second game to like 50 and it just like it's like a really hard stutter and it will never get better. It's not a shader compilation thing. It's literally it loads all the data for the next area and I'm like, now not to sound like one of these PC Master Race deluded fellows, but Capcom, I have like 24 gigs of VRAM. Why don't you just load up the whole fucking game? Like literally, there's got to be a better way. Also on PC, I haven't messed around with it, so none of the footage from this is going to show up in the video. People got so tired of Capcom's really bad temporal AA solution that they made a way to inject DLSS that it just makes the game flat out look better. Because their temporal AA, they do a lot to make sure like there's no shimmering artifacts and other stuff in Capcom's engine, but they also use a sharpening filter that's a little too aggressive. And also it loses a lot of the detail that was there originally. So you get all the benefits of bad sharpening artifacts and no details. Meanwhile, you use this like DLSS injector and it's like, oh, this game just looks sharper even at the same resolution. So I'm gonna do that. And I feel a little bad. I spent 2.5 runs playing with the game as it was instead of a mod.
Right.
Because, you know, buying a 4090, a member of the Illuminati showed up at my house and he's like, you're a member of the PC Master Race now. What are you doing not modding this game? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't want this Leon mod. I don't really want to see his tramp stamp. I'm sorry, that's just not my thing. But yeah, I think this game is, like, it's crazy that it shipped on PS4.
God, I keep forgetting it did.
Yeah.
That seems crazy.
Yeah, this game looks incredible, and it runs great on PC outside of those hitches, which is fine. You're never in combat during those. That's never
good.
once happened.
That's good.
If I was in combat even once... Oh, hey, I'm loading and there are 5 knights around me. Here we go. I think I would have brought that in first and foremost to be like, okay, this PC version's really good, accept. But yeah, no, it was a great experience over there. And using mouse and keyboard is just cheating. It's just cheating. You are not playing the same game as people on a controller. You are cheating is what you are doing. It is basically even more cheating than Resident Evil 4 on the Wii.
Right.
You're just like headshot.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
It is disgusting. I tried it out. I decided, I was like, okay, I know how this is going to go, but let's check it out anyways for the targeting range. That's what I was like, oh, it's time to switch. And I was like, this is gross. This is disgusting. It's a good thing there isn't multiplayer for people to get really mad.
Right.
Speaking of which, do you guys think the Mercenaries mode will have any multiplayer at all?
I doubt it.
Maybe leaderboards? I can't see more than that.
Yeah, I feel like that's true, but at the same time, if they get Mercenaries mode working as a co-op option, that'll set them up to remake 5.
I'm so scared of them going back to co-op at all. Just like, please don't put it near my Resident Evil ever again.
I think 5's co-op is fine. The problem with 5 is the rest of 5, I feel like. But
5 really bothered me because it wants you to play it co-op.
Yeah, there's definitely things they changed.
Like those melee combos where those team attacks are such a big part of it.
yeah, but I feel like they don't have to leave that as overpowered as it was.
And then the way that they made the inventory work was entirely co-op focused and stuff like that. They took away our attache case and just made it. Each character has 9 things they hold.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of like, God, what did I play recently that did that? I'm like, wrong. I want to sort the Diablo.
Yeah.
Diablo 4.
Unforgivable that there's an auto sort option for the attache case now. the game should shame you for using it even once.
If it makes you feel better, it doesn't do a great job. It's like, hey, here, I can sort this for you. A green herb here, a green herb here, a green herb here.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sort it like item-wise. It sorts it in the most...
categorize it.
It makes it the most efficient shape.
It like bar-shaped food. It's the most optimal shape for your inventory is box. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not as aggressive as Kris on this issue. Bob, where do you sit on the issue of should there be an auto-sort button?
I used it a lot.
Me too.
I'm sorry.
So did I.
Like a senator over here, you're like, they shouldn't have that. That's sinful. Is Googling that all the time. Why did you give me this? This is your fault. This game gives me the absolute insane energy of, do you think they were like, oh man, this is great. We just got done remaking Dead Space 1 and we can remake Dead Space 2. Never mind. And then it just plays sad music as they all go home. Like, cause how do you, I don't know. How do you match up with this?
Well, luckily, by the time they're out of the Iron Man mines. They'll hopefully be far enough away from this game.
Are they making an Iron Man game?
Yes, they are the ones at EA making the Iron Man game.
No. Man.
I'm sure it'll be fine. It's not like every single Marvel project in the past 5 or 6 years except Spider-Man for Sony has failed.
I mean, it could be fine. It could be fine. But the thing is, like, and I express this, and I haven't had to express this in a while because we haven't had a glut of Marvel games in a while, but I sure like video game IPs and video games about them.
Yeah.
I love video games. They are part of my life. It has always been in my life. I sure like when we develop and culture and cultivate and bring up video game IPs and not throw every major studio behind a comic book brand.
Yeah.
I feel like if Marvel wasn't the topic of that XCOM game, if that wasn't the, Midnight Suns, then maybe things would have been fine because they wouldn't have spent so much money. I feel like there's a pressure to spend an insane amount of money on your visuals and other things when you're Marvel.
Right.
So that way you can have the world's most hideous Wolverine.
I want to talk about the Ashley scene where you play as Ashley. I think her performance for yelling and running away from the knights is incredible. Like, that's the most perfect, oh no, knights are attacking me, I could imagine.
Yeah, no, she nailed it. And I was emotionally there with her in that moment because you have no way to fight back. You've got a stun gun and that's it.
Right. And then when I did my hardcore run, it was like, hey, there's like a little trophy thing for not using stun.
It.
So that was fun.
Oh, man.
I got that on my standard playthrough, the second one. It was like, hey, good job on that. I'm like, I did what? Because I was just running. Like, there was no strategy of, I need to not stun them with it.
Right.
I need to get in that elevator now. The funny thing is, if you speedrun that segment, you cut your... Because you can actually circumvent a decent chunk of it by just knowing the time is 11:04. And you set that up. But if you do that, you will put the lantern into the mechanism that takes it away, and then you cannot unlock the treasures for Leon later with the cube door.
Right, which is very important.
I did that to myself, and I was very mad.
Oh no, I missed one of the chests that Ashley can unlock with the ring of keys, and I'm like, it's over.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna walk into the ocean.
I did that too, and then reloaded again. I went back like 20 minutes when I realized that. I was like, nope, go back. Because I beat the game the first time and I didn't 100% any of the treasures because I didn't buy a treasure map to let me know where the treasures were. I just beat the game and I was like, I didn't need to buy it at all. Look at me. Then it was like, well, there's a challenge for getting all that. And I'm like, damn. Second playthrough, I'm like, I'm going to get them all. And then I messed up in the village permanently. And from that point on, I'm like, every save gets a fresh file per chapter. So that way I can absolutely, positively in the castle get 100% and the same for the island. So I still don't have 100% for the village because I started my hardcore playthrough. So
I wish this game had a way to be like, I want to play this chapter. I know that goes against the way that the game is set up. Like, I was thinking about how it'd be cool if we had the menu that's in like Devil May Cry 3 and on. Of like, here's just all the difficulty modes. select which mission you want to do.
Yeah.
But then that messes up the way a playthrough works in this because it's all about inventory management and not having enough ammo.
And what treasures you picked up.
Yeah, so it wouldn't make sense.
Let me be real. They give that to me, Bob. Oh, God. I'm going to just get unhinged.
Right?
If I do this chapter over and over, I could get 200,000 gold every time.
But yeah, I wish there was some way that we could have the best of both worlds. Because just like with Devil May Cry 5, I absolutely wish there was something like I can in this. But you're like, I want to start a new game.
Right.
Like, starting a fresh game in either of these games is great. And a good experience.
Yeah.
That's not in this, and then this doesn't have a chapter select.
I mean, have you just hit new game and started a new save file?
In Devil May Cry?
No, in this.
In this, I've checked if you can, and it's so definitely an option.
Yeah. I mean, they'll give you the bonus weapons and be like, don't touch those if you want that achievement. And I'm like, but you said the knife never breaks! Damn you, you tricked me! Now I'm the senator. Yes. I'm like, how dare you do this to me? Ah!
The only thing that keeps between for everything forever is the clockwork Castellans will never respawn.
And thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, it would suck. I missed one in chapter 5 and it was like, I just saved past it.
Yep.
Kill me.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly. I bet it's the exact same one I missed too.
You know, I think I only missed like 3 or 4, but they give you enough save files so you can make a save per chapter. So what you do is you save at the beginning of the chapter, and then you make the new file for the entire chapter playthrough, and then you leave that when it's the next chapter.
Right.
Then you move on. So I did that for the sake of getting footage. It's really just nice to have in case you need to 100% treasures and your dumbass in the village I didn't think of this till I got to the castle, which is why I didn't 100% the village. Because let me tell you, you get to like chapter 4, I think, and that's when they just block off a chunk where you first meet the merchant and the prison is. And I'm like, I left one treasure over there, and I don't have a save file I can load. Why? This game gave me like 20 save slots. And that changed me. That changed me from that moment on. There are good knives in this game.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm surprised how much they added to the knife and how fun it is, even though it does have durability and you have to pay for it.
Not anymore, it doesn't.
I know, right? That sure feels great.
Yeah. Speaking of which, did you get all the dancing Castellans, Kris?
No, not yet.
That's what you get for it. You get the super unlock of infinite durability knife.
Speaking of durability, the body armor.
Yeah.
So essential. Fucking pay for it, hassle.
So here's my argument for not paying for it. Ready? If you're drowning in green herbs and you someday would like to own your very own rocket launcher, infinite ammo, maybe don't spend the money on the body armor. You got green herbs.
Let me introduce you to a concept that is hardcore mode. You are not drowning in anything.
No. No, this does not apply to hardcore mode. My advice changes completely once you get to professional. Hide. That's my advice.
So speaking of professional, Capcom's demonic. Do you know what they hid behind S+ ranking professional?
Yes.
Yes.
If you don't know, dear viewer, that's where you get the cat ears to put on Leon. S+ professional.
S+ professional.
That means you can't bring in any bonus weapons.
You can't New Game Plus it at all.
Yeah.
That means 15 saves or less. Professional has no autosave.
Oh my, 15 saves are so basically one a chapter.
Yeah.
And under 5.5 hours.
Hey, at that point, I'm just running the whole time, and I either survive or I don't. So I think the run will be pretty fast. It's amazing. At that point, it's a litmus test for how many segments you could get past without needing to kill people. It'd sure be great if I could use an infinite durability knife.
It sure would.
Because, yeah, in this game, like, the durability on the knife's so important because stealth kills.
Yeah.
Like, even more so than the stabby stab.
Right, in self-defense. Like, you can block even the chainsaw, and you parry most things in this game, but it does hurt the durability.
Unless you're perfect parry.
Yeah, I was like, they threw boulders at me at one point, and I perfect parried, and I'm like, holy shit.
You can only perfect parry in professional mode. There's no other parry.
It's sicko mode.
Yeah, it's insane. I'm scared. I don't know if I'll ever play it through on that mode.
The worst part is I got it on PC. I'm not getting any trophies out of this. I know this would feel even better if I was hurtling towards a platinum, but I also feel kind of safe. Like, hey, I can give up anytime I want. I don't need to S+ professional.
There's some really fun challenges. There's like a beat the challenge using only handguns and knives. Beat the games using only handguns and knives.
That's what I was going to say immediately when you said really fun challenges. I'm like, yes, I'm very excited for my only handguns and knives run. Speaking of which, I do find it really great because this is a weird thing to think is exciting, but I think it's really interesting and great as an idea of like, oh, you can store just first aid sprays, none of the green herbs.
Yeah, you can't store a lot of things. You can't store ammo.
Right. You can store guns, but you can't store you can store guns, but you can't store ammo. You can store first aid sprays, but you can't store herbs. And this just makes it really interesting because I'm like, I mean, if I don't need to S+ professional, I could just come in with like 30 first aid sprays.
Or you just come in with the infinite rocket launcher and solve some fucking problems.
Yeah, I'm sure that's just the least of the game.
Probably. I hope so. It's an infinite rocket launcher. Right? Hey, how's the infinite rocket launcher? Oh, it's great. Blow shit up.
It's weird that they included maybe the most useless gun in any Resident Evil game in this, which is the assault rifle.
Yeah,
like,
the fact
why
it
would
just
I use
pisses
that?
through ammo and does very poor damage.
I didn't realize until my second playthrough. Oh, this uses sniper rifle ammo.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's crazy.
I did that on, I think it was my second playthrough where just near the end of the game, I'm like, well, I got to get rid of this SMG ammo. And then I pull that out and shoot it. And I'm like, where did my 20 rifle bullets? Oh, no.
Right?
Yeah, basically the only use for it is use up its ammo and sell it.
Oh, yeah.
Because at least the second submachine gun you get on the island, that's a piercing submachine gun.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I wouldn't know. I didn't buy it. I was relying on my... oh, really?
You can find a lot of guns in this game. You can find the Red 9, you can find that assault rifle, and you can find
no. Did I find it and immediately sell it? Because I'm like, SMGs are sin. They are absolute blight on this earth. The only thing that matters is my pistol, my shotgun, and my mine thrower. Man, the mine thrower's broken. I'm never not leaning into that again for a boss fight. I tried every boss in the game on the second playthrough without it. It truly was just, man, this game's hard when you don't stun lock every enemy infinitely.
It's not hard when you save your magnum ammo.
I mean, I didn't want to unload that on every boss. Even the final boss. Look, I had 17 shots. I wanted to carry it to my grave.
I guess. Yeah, I didn't use the Magnum a single time until I got to the boss of the castle. Then I was just like...
Salazar.
Yeah, Salazar. And I was just like, wait, I haven't used this yet. And then he evaporated.
Oh,
he was
yeah.
like, he ceased to exist.
Yeah, he just did a piece and then faded out.
Yes.
And meanwhile, I was like, oh, but I can beat him in 9 seconds on the original.
Yeah.
Even when I don't bring in the free rocket launcher that you get earlier.
I really like that guy because I think it was 2 attempts where I was just fighting him to see what his movement pattern was so I could understand what the fight was. And I just let him beat the shit out of me as I just look at it and try to figure it out. Third run, this is not hyperbole. Under 20 seconds. I just walk in, mine thrower him. He falls all the way from the ceiling to the floor and then just double shotgun at point blank and stab. Do that twice and he's basically dead.
Jeez.
The mine thrower just stun locks every enemy in this game, and it's so good.
That's crazy.
It's the best.
Speaking of, we talked earlier about how every character gets more. Even Salazar gets stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he starts to have a breakdown in his boss fight and say things that were obviously said to him as a kid.
Yes.
Where he starts screaming and calling you devil child that shouldn't have been born.
Yeah. Yeah, and other Spanish insults. And I'm like, that's the thing that guy said. I don't know what that means. I better not say it on a video. It might be a slur. Capcom slipping Spanish slurs into the...
Jesus.
No one will notice.
In the original, did he have the backstory you can find in the logs about, hey, yeah, he was supposed to die of a disease at a very young age, and that's why he's, like, stuck in childhood?
I don't think they have that part. I think they only have, like, the letter from the butler saying he fell to the... He got corrupted by Sadler. But I have to stay with him. I think that's the only one in the original.
I thought there was something about that because that's why the Plagas was so appealing to him. Like as a yeah, but I could totally be wrong. I'm the guy who beat it once.
Right.
I'm a fake Resident Evil 4 fan. I've beaten Resident Evil 5 at least 3 times as many times as the original Resident Evil 4. What? 5's good. Here's my argument for 5's good. It has the Hydra shotgun. 3 barrels,
That's
baby.
true.
That is an amazing
That's true.
gun.
It is so good. Also, that Mercenaries mode is great. It's so great. They spun it off into a weird, beaten down version of itself for the 3DS.
Yeah, I hope we get some of the levels from Resident Evil 5 Mercenaries mode for this Mercenaries mode, but we'll see.
I hope I hope Capcom sides with me and against the rest of humanity and remakes 5 and Code Veronica. Once they do that,
Sure.
we're good. Don't touch 6.
Yes,
Don't do it.
No.
Only thing I know about the 3DS Mercenaries is they included a gun that I have always wanted them to put in a real Resident Evil game, the Pale Rider, which is a Magnum with a 3-foot barrel. It deals like the absolute maximum amount of damage something can deal in that game.
Isn't that the gun the Mask uses?
I think so.
Is the Mask in that game?
Imagine just Kris with the green face.
Yeah, it's Kris with a green face and a really long barrel on his gun. Man, yeah, no, they absolutely need to remake Code Veronica, because if they don't, I'm going to break down and play the original sometime soon.
Oh, don't do that.
I need to know. I love Resident Evil. I love Resident Evil. But somehow, to date, I still haven't beaten the original version of 3 or Code Veronica. Mm-hmm. And weirdly enough, I've beaten a lot of the other spin-offs, but not those 2.
I hope that if they do remake it, they make it like 4. Just maybe for no reason, but hey, whatever. This gameplay dynamic is really good.
Yeah, it needs to be in everything. I really hope that whatever Resident Evil 9 is next is...
I still don't know how you do a 9 from here. Because 7 and 8 were so different, and I feel like 9 cannot be that again.
Yeah, it can't be that. Hopefully it's just... No, it's a sequel to 4.
Just pretend that 7 and 8 didn't happen.
I mean,
those were their own thing.
Aw.
Don't pretend, but just do not put it 18 years after. 8.
No, don't
we do not need to
follow
follow up on that.
Do not follow up the epilogue of 8.
Like, we already changed the ending, apparently, for 4 here, with Ada not turning over the Las Plagas. So they might just be like, oh, no, this is where the timeline reboots.
Look, since I'm the guy who really needs the redone version of 5, I'm absolutely ready for that theory. Okay,
Yeah,
anyways, there are definitely not racist things in this game. Me clapping my hands until they bleed. Yes! For the series going forward, I find 9 to be so hard to visualize. Mm-hmm. So hard. 8 was easy to visualize. What I visualized was better than the final game. But for 9, I don't know. Ethan's done. We've had his story. Mm-hmm. Rose should be done.
Yeah, they left us with 3 different paradigms of continuing something like the 7 and 8, where it's more horror-focused in first person. There's continuing Rose's story, or there's doing what the Resident Evil remakes are doing. Mm-hmm. And they're all very different directions.
There is that stuff in 8 where it's like, yeah, Kris, the BSAA isn't getting back to us. Wesker might have somehow come back and taken over the BSAA, and then that isn't followed up on anything.
Yeah, that's a pretty good idea for a plot for 9. And obviously, if Kris is the main character, it will secretly be Resident Evil 5 remakes Resident Evil 8, where it's just asset generation for me in the game I want.
Finally.
They're like, it's really crazy. In this Resident Evil 9 game, we added a specific co-op mode. And I'm like, yes!
I mean, they had the model Wesker for this.
Yes.
So, you know.
I mean, data leak, he's apparently going to be in the Mercenaries mode.
It would be a criminal act if he wasn't.
Right.
He was the best part.
Yeah, he's in it in the original.
He's got the fucking open palm strike.
Yes.
That's so good. Mercenaries mode is so great.
Yeah, they better not screw it up. This whole package is immaculate. Don't mess up the last step.
I know. And like, I was expressing to you the idea of like, the Mercenaries mode isn't in the game, which is good in a way at launch for this review, because I don't have to worry about there's this immaculate game and then this bad Mercenaries mode. Because like Resident Evil 8's Mercenaries mode is pretty bad. And while...
Yeah, that's an understatement, but yes.
Yeah, I feel like we're not going to hit the highs of 6 with the co-op and the other systems in that were insane, like the quick shot and other things that are really neat. Because 6 is neat mechanically. The problem is the content they made. I feel like this will be good, but will it be the best Mercenaries mode? I don't know, but at least this game is like immaculate feeling. So it's gonna just at a surface level, at a deep level, just control better than 6, obviously.
Right.
Because you've played it.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 Remake feels incredible. This is basically the standard for third-person shooters now.
It feels incredible on everything but Xbox.
Yeah, I heard about the Xbox problem, and part of me thought about applying for a code to check that out, but I'm like, no, I don't want a code for the Xbox version.
If you do not know, apparently you have to move the stick almost like half its travel distance for the game to pick up you're moving the stick.
Yeah, there's a massive dead zone, and I have no idea why. It's really
so
weird
weird
for the Xbox version to be messed up, but the PC version's fine.
Yeah.
It's almost like they see a lot more sales on PC than they see on Xbox, because that thing came out during the PS4 generation where they were like, less than 8% of our sales, this is Capcom, less than 8% of our sales are on Xbox. And I'm like, why is the Switch? Because they didn't even release that many things on Switch at that point. It's like, why is the Switch clowning on it? Like, that feels bad. So maybe that's the lowest priority platform.
Possible.
Because PC has good evergreen sales. You know, it's an always relevant platform. PS4 has a giant install base, and PS5 is the most popular next-gen system. So in a sense, it's their lowest priority platform, but that's not an excuse to release a game where the dead zone is half of the stick travel.
Yeah. I don't know how that ended up getting released. That's horrible.
Yeah, that's insane. I wonder how the other parts of that are, like graphically and other things, because I haven't checked it out.
Now I'm just thinking about how crazy the cutscenes look.
Oh yeah, no, it looks like a Sony game. The cutscenes look that good.
Yeah, but then they're doing absolutely outrageous things. Like I beat the game again yesterday, and just the part where you beat the giant monster as Leon at the very end of the game, and he's like doing an anime run up the steel tower. I was like,
Bob, that's not an anime run. That's a Tom Cruise run. Could you imagine Leon ran like Tom Cruise with the perfect oh, that would be so good. Someone in Resident Evil should run like him. Do you think Piers, when he comes back, Piers nipples?
Yeah, Piers is like the most Tom Cruise core character.
Yeah, exactly. So he should do it. He can show up in 9. Him and Kris just have it, like, they get over their differences and have a cool time taking down Wesker. You ever think about Resident Evil 6?
I try not to.
I think about it too much, probably, because I think about the part that you remember the Ada quest. Yeah, I think about the Ada DLC a little too much, where I'm just like, man, that sucked.
Yeah, and our ghost ally.
Yeah, I can't remember the name
Not a
they had for
character.
him. Yeah, the weird bodysuit and animate, basically.
Yes.
What a weird game.
Yeah.
6 is like a real Ubisoft moment for Capcom. Because, you know, they had 1,200 or 1,400 people work on that game.
Yeah, I'm so scared that game scared them away from making action Resident Evil games for so long. Because, like, that wasn't the problem. The problem was you made a Nightmare game that was 4 games shoved together.
Right. Like, no one, not even, like, we're deranged and we're on our 3rd playthroughs, all of us. Right? Like, Kris, you're on your 3rd, right?
I'm almost at the end of the 2nd.
Okay. And obviously, like, if I weren't so busy, I would actually be even further. Like, I had other things I had to do. You know, we stream every week on Fridays. We do Big Think Dimension on Thursdays. Twitch.tv/GigaBoots. This is a plug. It's very subtle. And I love G Fuel, by the way.
Oh my God.
If I weren't so busy, I would be on a further run. But in no world do I sit there and go, I wish Resident Evil was 18 hours long.
No.
I wish it was 4 campaigns. I need more food in my mouth. Like, no, I want a good...
I kind of wish that for this game specifically.
You want this game to be even longer?
I'd be fine with it if it was even longer. I fucking eat as much as they give me.
I
played the original 25 times.
There's something to be said for having really excellent pacing, and I think this does. I think the Ashley segment feels better as a stealth, oh, I'm scared segment than the thing in 3 did. I think everything in it is there exactly as long as it should be.
Yeah, like the Minecraft segment is immaculate.
Yes.
It's not even that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very short. I was surprised at how short it was. I'm like, good.
And they were smart enough to do 2 separate minecart segments so that way they could raise the difficulty and not make you start all the way from the beginning.
Yes. Oh my god, the second one where the chainsaw guy just rolls up on the cart next to you and looks at you.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I constantly wonder, can I blow up his cart?
Maybe.
Because it takes damage. It like sprays wood. And I'm like, now my cart could explode. Can I just shoot his cart until it breaks?
Yeah, I would just shot him enough so he'd be stun locked and would hit me.
Yeah, that's the obvious choice, right? Where you're just like, ah!
When I realized I had infinite ammo, I had the red 9, so I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to start blasting.
Yeah, I fell in love with the Red 9 during that segment.
Great gun.
It's a great gun.
It kills guys.
It kills them really good.
Doing hardcore mode mostly without it was a mistake because the other ones, the other pistols are not strong enough to knock some of these dudes on their knee.
Yeah. Yeah, I
What you need.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah, that's a thing. Instead of like the original game where shooting a guy in the face or knee, crumples them and you can do the melee. It doesn't seem to be pure RNG now. It seems to be a combination of like the more damage you do, the more likely it is.
Right, and some enemies, like you literally, if you shoot left, right, and left kneecap, they'll go down. Even with a black tail, which is not as strong as the Red 9.
I did have multiple times where I shot a guy in the face and then I'm like running like a dog when you drop the fucking food on the ground. Like, but I'm like, oh shit, they didn't stagger and I have to back up.
Yes. It's hard to get over that instinct.
You just run up and then you see them and then you pull out the knife and you're like, stay back! Speaking of which, I find it very interesting doing the takedown kills when they're on the ground and they're transforming. Takes up more durability than you stabbing wildly at them depending on what enemy type it is. There's some maths to be done here. Absolutely. Making that sort of thing a decision you make based on the enemy type is more interesting than it will always be best to do the stealth kill.
Yeah, I need to upgrade Leon's starter knife fully to see how that is with the double attack speed. Like if that just makes it make more sense to do that every time.
Well, now my knife never breaks, so it's always the takedown.
Yes.
Always and forever. Hardcore mode's so easy. I just have a knife that doesn't break.
How do you do it?
It's that simple. I would just sneak up on every enemy in the game and stab them. Speaking of which, so you get to that windmill segment where there's a gate and you need to insert a wooden cog and rotate this thing in order to lift the gate to get to the next thing. It's in the village. It's pretty early on.
Yeah, that's like
chapter
2 or
1 or 2.
Yeah.
It is chapter 1. It is the it is the farm segment of the village.
Yes.
That did not have the windmill originally.
So if you go around to the far side of this building that has the locked door and you shoot the lock off the back door on it, then go around and go in, and you've been stealth the whole time because you killed the lady on the outside of that building. The moment you pick up that wooden cog, Boar's Head Man will bust through the door. And it's funny every time. I also, and I don't know if this also consistently happens, but it seemed to for me. I would pick it up and an old lady would drop from the second floor to the first also. And they don't know where I am even still. They just busted in because they were like, what's up? Somebody needed me?
Yeah, it's 2 p.m. He always does that.
Sheer coincidence every time. You brought up the fact that Ramon's giant statue, it no longer chases you.
Right.
It no longer does the Tom Cruise run.
No.
I think that's because it's a different timeline. We showed up earlier. The thing with the flamethrower head, that was gonna be a full mech, but they weren't done with it. We showed up too early in product development. They're like, whatever, just have it spew fire. Did you guys notice the red barrel on the back side of its head?
I got that the second playthrough.
Same. Chris?
No, I did not.
Yeah, if you let him fully turn his head, on the exact center of the back of that thing's skull is a vertical red barrel, which, because of the scale of him, very small. And if you shoot that, it will explode his head. And then you won't have to dance around the flames.
Yeah, I was wondering how you got through this without taking damage, because it felt like just too close to... Oh,
you can time it really well.
Okay.
And get through. It's not easy. It is, in fact, very hard.
Yeah, the times I saw I did it perfectly, Leon was still hit by a little bit as I was leaving. Yeah.
What was Ashley's original age? 17?
No, she was 20 in all of them.
Really?
She's always been a college student. Yeah.
Really? Okay. I was always curious. I heard someone grouse at some point in time, which, it's the internet. I don't know how deranged this person is, but they were grousing. They were like, Leon's an older man. And I'm like, okay. I guess she was 17 originally. No, she's 20. How old's Leon? He looks like a baby, too.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know how old he's supposed to be in this game.
Right, because he's pretty young in 2.
He's really fresh face.
Yeah. How many years? It's 5 years after 2, is that right?
4?
4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's what, 23? 24?
Something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
he is 7 years older than Ashley, so he's 27 in this game.
Okay, so he's 7 years old. Oh, all right. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the president's daughter. I'm pretty sure the power dynamic goes her way.
A little bit.
I mean, the end of the game is like, how would you like to work for me, Leon? And he's like, no.
I like Leon so much in this game because in the original, he has a lot of action guy scenes, like when he throws the knife through Salazar's hand.
Mm-hmm.
In this game, he gets owned so much in the early game where he's like, I'm going to try and just kick him. I'm just going to try and stab him. I'm just going to shoot him once. By the end of the game, he's like, fuck you. You can hear him like, because in RE2 Remake, at the final time Mr. X breaks through, he's like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
He gets to the point where right before Salazar's boss fight, he just shoots him like 8 times.
Yeah,
he's like, fuck you.
That's
It's
incredible.
so good. The fact he's lighting up like Ramon as well. That Ramon's like, oh, Mr. Kennedy. And he's like, no. It just keeps pulling the trigger. He's like, oh, fuck, shit. Like, it's so good. Because you did see people who were like, why didn't he shoot them in the scene? And it's like, well, now he did.
Right.
Now he is shooting him. It didn't go great.
My favorite one-liner they've added in this is after Krauser unlocks his full potential and grows this stuff and like knocks Leon through a floor, and then you like perfect guard him. Leon's then is like, is that the true power you're talking about? I think you want a refund.
Yeah, I think you need a refund, buddy. And he's like in a dark maze.
Yeah, it's like
In an underground chamber. And I'm just like, you're shit talking to him right now? This dude's scary. This is like a horror movie moment. Why are you doing this?
he's already figured it out.
It was completely unnecessary. We didn't need it at all. I very appreciate Leon ripping away Sadler's staff and impaling him with it at the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's the moment where he does the anime run up a steel girder to get to him. It's great.
It's so funny that in the original game, I always interpreted Sadler as just like a weird con man who found these bugs and decided to take over the world. In this, he's like actually a religious fanatic.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice change with all the writing stuff they changed in this.
Yeah, and the interesting thing here, sorry, Resident Evil fans, the interesting thing here is that it really works. Whereas I feel like a lot of we're trying to tie like the parasites and stuff in Resident Evil 8 into an ancient society feels weird because then they're like, well, these are the kings appointed by, then Umbrella. I'm like, man, this is weird. I figured this was just an ancient European city that's crazy and has superpowers and werewolves. Whereas here, it's like, yeah, these cultists move in. They suck. Everyone hates these guys.
Yeah, there being so much like backstory as to how the cult took over slowly is really neat.
Yeah.
I usually don't read text logs in games much, but Resident Evil games do it right. It's like 2 paragraphs of like maybe 3 sentences for each pickup. It's not like I'm reading a whole chapter of something.
This game avoids the thing that a lot of video games do, and I know why they do it, and it's kind of repugnant. But there are a lot of video games that the writing of a lot of these text logs just read like, so this is why that does that. Mm-hmm. It's interesting stuff they're telling you about the world.
And they do it concisely.
Yes.
Like that's something a lot of things do not do well.
Yeah. Brevity. Brevity is important. Like, you need to understand an hour into this video, brevity is important.
Yeah,
But you need to understand that when people are playing through a video game, like, they're totally down to read text and text logs, but you still have to try to be compelling in your prose, in what you're talking about, in all of these things. Don't just write because you get carte blanche to write 100,000 text logs because it's a giant open world game. So I agree. I think the writing in this is pretty good. I think game where guys say one-liner and it funny, good.
It's funny how transparently down bad Ashley is the entire game. In the original, it's really only the thing at the very end. But in this, like, her ambient dialogue is constantly like, haha, you had me sit here. It's like a date. Ha 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 ha. Or her trying to tell jokes while shitting her pants. Because of course she is. Everything is terrifying.
She's just like, Leon, I think you look rather handsome in knight armor. And then Leon's like, all right.
It doesn't make sense.
Oh, let me explain. He's typing out his response. He's ready to dump his like Reddit paragraph of debunking the question or something.
Yeah, she's obviously immediately jealous of Ada.
Yep. That is just like a light switch.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's a woman? And you know her? Oh, that's I wanted to say something about the thing Kris brought up earlier. Luis is developed more, and I like him a lot.
Yeah, Luis is great in this.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah.
There's so many things about like the soul and character he brings, but also the performance and the kinetic energy they scripted, like when he meets Ada, and he's just trying to go up the rock wall. There's so many things they do well to characterize him and make him incredibly like he tugs at your heartstrings a bit because he is such a realized character.
Yeah, and like actually teaming it up with Leon in that later part of the game is great.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the best parts of the game.
And I genuinely did not expect him to die because they integrated him so differently. I was like, we're going to make it out. Me, him, and Mike? Mike?
Yeah,
That's
Mike.
his name?
Mike did
Yeah,
not
it's
make
Mike.
it.
I love it. There's so many layers of moments there where I'm like, oh, Mike's going to make it. Oh, Mike's swerving off. That's okay. He didn't crash in front of me. Giant explosion. Oh, fuck you, Sadler. You piece of crap.
The Luis dying is like done really well in this because you get the shot of his face and then like, oh, something got him. And in the original, he's impaled by Sadler's giant tentacle cock that goes back under his robe.
Yeah, it's really
So I'm
unceremonious.
like, is that going to be in this one? And then they show him from the front and there's nothing sticking out. And I'm like, okay, is it a smaller tentacle in this game? Because it was kind of ridiculous in the original. And then no, it's Krauser, and that's where you have the knife fight with Krauser.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the choreography of the knife fight in that scene where you just really fastly hit each other's arms away while incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible, looks hilarious.
Oh, yeah. No, looks hilarious. It's really cool, though.
Yes.
It feels like whereas Resident Evil 2004, Resident Evil 4 back then had this real energy of a movie from 2004. Like you could see any number of those. What is the name of that vampire series?
Oh no.
Underworld?
Yes.
Yes, that. It feels like this would be in one of those, like the cinematography back then in Resident Evil 4 of like the knife comes up and they duck backwards and dodge it barely and then all this cool stuff. Whereas this is like really lean almost John Wick.
Yeah, this feels like
Yeah.
this guy actually knows whatever that knife
techniques,
knife arts are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really cool. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Look at him go.
I forgot to look and see if this is Udon Flameworks again. Because they
yeah.
do so much like choreography in Japan.
Yeah, it feels like this probably is because it's pretty top notch. Because they did Devil May Cry 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like it fires on that level. But it's like it's
it's
just
grounded.
Right. I was gonna say it's just the right amount of grounded. It's not grounded in a bad way. the stupid Western AAA way. I don't need fucking 15 seconds to watch a guy crawl up and get on top of a box. But yeah, it's just the right amount of grounded and not grounded.
And then that fight's incredible. Like that's probably the best fight in the game.
It's really cool.
Because they just strip everything down so much. Like all you get is the knife. You better learn to parry now.
And I'm like, oh, we're gonna have fun later when this game lets me use the mine thrower on you. And then we did. We
You have
had
no
so
honor.
much fun. I'm like, parry, mine thrower, shotgun.
You're one of those guys that fights Gray Fox with the fucking machine gun.
Yes. Yes, I am. Absolutely. I'm here to get a job done. Well, we got to wrap this.
Yeah.
So, as we mentioned before, actually, I don't think we've mentioned it before. Maybe we just went, you'll get the numbers at the end. Shut up. But yeah, now we're going to just summarize overtly out loud our final summary reviews of the game and then give it a number out of 10. We're going to go ahead and start with Bob.
Yeah, Resident Evil 4 is immaculate. Amazing. It's a 10, of course. Like, it's... Like I said, it might be one of the best third-person shooters ever made.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident of that.
Yeah.
I don't what do I hold up?
Right?
Compare. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Did you expect to give it a 10?
No.
No.
I thought there'd be some flaw, something that would just like, well, that was cool, but they cut out all the stuff I liked, or
Right. It's too short. They cut a clock tower.
right, or the something about the combat just doesn't feel right. Like it just doesn't have as smooth a feel as it does. But no, it's all like there, great. Now I just really want that mercenaries mode.
Yeah. I did not expect that to come out only a couple weeks later.
Yes, thank God. I don't know if I could survive 6 months.
Chris, what are you thinking? What's your review?
I cannot believe that it feels like they made the remake for me, an insane person who has played the original 25 times and is bizarrely fixated on every single element of RE4. But it feels like they too are bizarrely fixated on every conceivable element of RE4. So I can't give this anything but a 10.
Yeah, there's clearly like an irreverence for it that doesn't exist in some other remakes. Like, it's so amazing.
Yeah, it's great because they did change things, but they get exactly what was great about the original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is like the dumbest review we've ever done because even I expected to give it a 9 out of 10. This feels as ridiculous as our 13 Sentinel review from years ago where it's like, everyone's just lining up to give it a 10. Do. Absolutely ludicrous. I think this game even makes the solid argument that an 11 should exist because it is unfair to expect another game to hit this 10. It has absolutely raised the bar, and I think it's superseded any other game I've ever given a 10 on this podcast.
This year has Spider-Man 2, it has Final Fantasy 16, it has Final Fantasy 7 Remake 2, it has Tears of the Kingdom, it has Starfield. I cannot imagine in my mind a version of any of those games that is better than this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do some mental gymnastics to get Tears of the Kingdom there, but it's really, really hard.
If Tears of the Kingdom ran at 60 and was on a PS5, my brain could be like, oh yeah,
Yes.
This is also an 11, let's go. But the Switch is holding it back a bit for me where I'm like, I think it has a chance. It too can get a 10. A lesser 10, but a 10. Yes. Let me tell you, if you haven't watched any of our videos before, we don't hand these out. No. I've liked games plenty in the past, been like 7. Because, I totally expected to come into this and be like, oh, here are some easy things they could have done to make this better. But it's like, nope. No notes.
Make another game like this, Capcom, please.
Call a Resident Evil 9 and have it be Leon and Kris teaming up and live the meme. Have Kris be like, hey, Leon. Let me talk to you about sisters.
We need Kris and Leon to just do the Predator handshake.
Yes. That's the only way you top this. You make new fiction that's insanely good like this was. And it involves that team up. That would be so incredible. But as for this game, no notes. That never happens.
Yeah.
This almost feels stupid to have even made this video. Thank you very much for watching this video. We actually have some other 3cam videos that are really neat. For example, a force feedback on Forspoken. And as you can imagine, that video went a little different. The executive producers for this GigaBoots video are Esme, Ely Broyles, Spaceman Spiff, Red Blaze 27, Brendan O'Sullivan, A Reminder for Symphony of War, Cooper Tank, Very Best Plot, Iconic Bane, and Rado. Thank you very much to our executive producers. And also these guys. If you want to become an executive producer or normal patron, head on over to patreon.com/gigaboots today.